Hello everyone and welcome back to Spinning Prog with me, Tara. And yeah, you can see we're in a bit of a different setup here today. I just wanted to have a nice chill chat with you all in a nice chill spot. So look at me changing it up for once. Today I wanted to chat to you about 5 albums turning 20 this year. So there's a lot of focus on albums turning 50, and rightly so. 1975 was a fantastic year for prog. Some really incredible stuff came out. But I wanted to change it up and chat a bit about what happened in 2005. So, the first album I'm going to talk about is the Mars Volta's Francis the Mute. What a crazy album. Dub, jazz, Latin, orchestral, all fused with prog rock. The way they came up with some of the songs even was they were on tour for Delos did the Comatorium before, and during some of the songs they'd go into these improvs, and a lot of those improvs turned into songs on Francis the Mute, which is awesome. Love it. A couple of guests, Flea and John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers, of all people, to be on such a crazy proggy album. And people like Larry Harlow, who was a salsa pianist. Other kind of orchestral guests as well, violin players, stuff like that. Really, really strange album. Really odd. Kind of influenced by movies, specifically spaghetti westerns, which is an odd one, but you can really hear it on songs like The Widow. Very strong album in their discography. I think it's one of the most progressive ones actually, because it's insane. And we love insanity here, don't we? The next album is Dead Wing by Porcupine Tree. Very, very strong album in a very, very strong discography. I personally think everything that Porcupine Tree did was fantastic. So Dead Wing was supposed to be a screenplay that Stephen Wilson wrote about a ghost. Unfortunately, he couldn't get any funding for it. Maybe it'll happen in the future, I don't know. But Dead Wing is the soundtrack that was meant to go with that screenplay. And you can really hear those kind of ghost stories in there, especially on the title track, and Lazarus especially is like a mother. The ghost of a mother calling out to her son. It's really sad actually. It's really cool though. A couple of guests on this one as well. Michael Ackerfeld singing harmonies, and he plays the guitar solo along with Stephen Wilson on Arriving Somewhere But Not Here. And Adrian Belew guests on a few tracks playing guitar, so that's awesome. But yeah, really unconventional and in-your-face songs on that album. Awesome. I don't feel like Shallow really fits in very well with it, but they were under pressure from the record company who were looking for a hit, of course. Like, can they not just leave the bands do what they want? But yeah, no, fantastic album nevertheless. The next album I'm going to talk about is by Coheden Cambria. Good Apollo and Burning Star 4. Really, really love this album. I got into it when I was very young. Kind of piqued my curiosity because it's this kind of science fiction story. It's actually third in a trilogy, but then like they went on to do more albums about this story anyway. But so Claudio Sanchez, the singer, writes a graphic novel called The Amory Wars, and it's very, very intricate kind of science fiction story. And this album is of course part of that. A lot of people don't get on with his vocals, but I think that it's perfect for what he's doing. You know, he's telling this really crazy sci-fi story and portraying these characters, and his voice is very unique, so it just fits, you know. Again, very ambitious album to come out at the time. Fantastic. The fourth album I'm going to talk about is Ghost Reveries by Opets. I love Opeth. I think they're fantastic. And this album is very strong. Wow. So they had just done Damnation and Deliverance, and it was when they went into Ghost Reveries. Sorry, my brain is all like, ugh. When they went into Ghost Reveries, they didn't have Stephen Wilson producing or doing anything with it for the first time in a couple of albums. But his influence is very much still there. So they fused the death metal kind of proggy metal growls and stuff with the softer stuff that was happening on Damnation. And it really, really works. Now, I know the inspiration for this album was the occult. So Michael was actually reading a lot on Satanism and witchcraft and stuff. So it's very kind of evil album, especially Ghost of Perdition and Baying of the Hounds and stuff. But I think it sounds fantastic. Great album. Especially the kind of versatility of it. You have tracks like Ghost of Perdition, but then you have Hours of Wealth. Beautiful song. Gorgeous. Such a talented band. If you're not into the growls or the heavy, heavy metal, you might not like it, but I would still recommend you give it a try and see what you think, because I feel like that metal and the growls and stuff is used in context with this band. And it really works for what they're writing about or singing about. So yeah, give it a try. You never know. And the last album I'm going to talk about, I made a short on it the other day showing my signed copy of it, is Octavarium by Dream Theater. This was their 8th album, so it's based off of a musical octave, hence the name. Every song is in a different key, which is really cool, so it goes up the 8 keys. And every transition between the songs also changes key to transition into the next key. It's so intricate and, typical Dream Theater as well to do something that complex. However, they were trying to tone it down for this album. So they all drew from their different stylistic influences. And, like I said, tone it down. There's one song I do not like on this album that I skip, and that is I Walk Beside You. Because like I said, they were drawn from their stylistic influences, and one of those is U2. And yes, I might be Irish, but I do not like U2 at all. Yeah, so they were trying to tone it down, but then you have the title track, which is not toning it down at all. It was their first time working with an actual orchestra too, which is awesome. They did have orchestral stuff on 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, but that was just Jordan Rudess being his wizard self, being an orchestra on a couple of keyboards, nuts. But yeah, so this was their first time working with a real orchestra, and it's fabulous. The title track, I like to say, is a Prog fan's wet dream. So it's inspired by Yes, Genesis, Pink Floyd, etc. And they even call out names of great albums and songs that you'd all recognise. It's awesome. Really, really great album. So there we have it. 5 fantastic albums that came out in 2005, 20 years ago. I know, it's unreal. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. It really, really helps me and, kind of motivates me to keep going with these videos and stuff. And I love, as always, chatting with you all in the comments. So I look forward to that. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!